Hello and welcome, everybody, to Moonlighting Montana. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for sticking with me. As you can see, hopefully it didn't jar you too much. New setup. I think it's going to be very valuable moving forward as productivity goes and getting the information to you guys, not only with the editing process, but maybe just the overall look of it and feel of it, especially with the coaches' interviews. I think it'll be beneficial. But enough of that. Did any of you guys catch these games this last weekend? Because if you didn't, you missed out. We had some great ones. And as per usual with the trend, we slowly get teams that just they're tightening up and games are getting closer than they were in the regular season, and that's great because it's great for football. It's great for the fans watching, and as we continue to go through a lot of this stuff, I think that it's just going to get better and better, and I think the right teams are in the state final. And some shockers, which is a fun part to get into. So let's, without further ado, why don't we get into it? Getting into some of these scores. As you can see, the nice layout from my friend Cody Branson, who programmed this website for me. But we got Class AA football, Capital beating the Sentinel Spartans. I think that most people expected this. During the regular season, Capital handled them a little bit earlier. Sentinel's always going to be Sentinel. And so the Spartans came out and at least gave them a run. And they went out battling who I foresee being the state champions, losing by a touchdown, and they were down by a touchdown most of the game. We get into some of these box scores. Joey Michelotti throws for 144 yards and a touchdown, and Hudson Grovem, who's back, he is throwing the ball a little bit more. It was cold, nasty in Helena, and so a little less throwing. Tom Carter, who is just a workhorse. When Helena's down and out, they kind of just say, give Tom the ball and let him run behind those offensive linemen, and those offensive linemen do a really good job. But Tom Carter has been electric all year, and he's fun to watch. Receiving, Michelotti goes for 127 yards and a touchdown. Just honestly ridiculous. And if I can get this pulled up, that would be amazing. But this play is just... It's from, I don't know, I can't really tell with the snow, but about the 1-inch line, and Michelotti catches it, and I don't know what happened to the defense there. Kind of a broken coverage, and he's gone, people. He's gone. He should be throwing up the deuces like Tyreek Hill, running into the snowbanks in Montana. But he had a wonderful game, as you can see. 2 catches, or 2 touchdowns for a whole lot of yards. But the box score says it all, man. He had a great game. Another great game by Talon Marsh as well. And I don't know, they just seem to get it done when they need to. And Sentinel, I don't know, Sentinel played them well. They had to battle against, like I said, I foresee the state champions, but remains to be seen. Bozeman goes and takes care of business against Gallatin. I heard there was some heated talk going on in the Gallatin Valley, as there should be. Finally, the Gallatin Raptors are relevant in state and Class AA in the state, and they're letting people know about it. And I think that they're just going to get better and better. They got some young players, obviously, when you're starting new. But Bozeman, on the back of Casagrande, the quarterback for Bozeman, just takes care of business down there. Little crosstown, but now, yeah, Bozeman's going to have to take on the beast. But going down into Class A, Fergus and Polson getting an absolute shootout, which is not really what Fergus has done all year. But just, I think they had to with Polson. I don't really foresee them doing that again. Obviously, the first matchup between Polson and Billings Central, it was 10-17 or 17-7, I believe. And it just felt wild. They took care of business, though. Led and held on to the lead and took care of business. And I think that Most people still have Fergus Eagles flying high in the 406. So good for them. That quarterback is a football player, an unbelievable talent in Class A. You just have to watch him play. He runs through tackles. He's fast. He just gets everything done. And their defense is amazing. Polson has a great quarterback, obviously. We've talked about him this year, but he's a left-handed thrower, and he also is a very good runner. And so the defense obviously gave up 32 points. Probably not ideal for them, but they got it done when it was out of the mud, right? And so got down and dirty and got it done. Snowy and slippery on that one. Same, not quite as bad as the Capital Sentinel game. There's a play on the kickoff where there was just a truck stick when and the returner probably could have just ran it outside for a touchdown, but had no grip. Okay, and then really two shockers this week, and this is one of them. Hamilton absolutely obliterated, smacked, destroyed, slapped, assaulted, sort of embarrassed by Billings Central. Hamilton, for me, that's a disappointment to the end of the season for them. I think that they're maybe not as good as Billings Central, but they are definitely better than a 6-42 route. Fans were probably leaving a little bit early, getting out to start their cars at halftime, warming them up. But what I do know about the Hamilton Broncs is they will be back. They are extremely well coached. There's a lot of talent in that area, and they will be back. This is, 2 steps backward, hopefully 3 steps forward, and we'll see as it goes on. And then the other game that I was talking about, the aforementioned shocker, like Wichita State, is Loyola going out and beating the, favorited by most Big Fork Vikings. And I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. They just, I don't know. They're turning it on at the right time, and I don't know. No one really saw this coming. As I said, when it gets a little bit cold, you start to see teams that have a different scheme work a little better. That's why Billings Central runs a true wing T offense, and that obviously plays to their favor. In the cold, it's a little harder to catch, a little harder to throw the pigskin down the football field. But Loyola holds off to upset Big Fork, and Loyola, I was talking with a colleague of mine today, if Loyola wins the state championship, they officially won more games in the postseason than they did in the regular season, which is an absolute incredible stat. I think that goes down in the history books. Even now, to go 4-5 in the regular season and come in really not talked about by anyone to make a state championship, unreal by the Loyola Sacred Heart Rams. And I think this goes to show that to a lot of teams that it's only really you holding you back in a lot of these scenarios. If you believe that you're not that good, if you believe a team's so much better than you, it can go a whole long way, especially in some, maybe even these lower classes where heart can get you a long ways. Then we have Florence Carlton coming back and redeeming themselves against the Jefferson Panthers. Took a loss to them earlier this year, but Florence is another team, the 2 Class B teams that are really stepping up in the postseason, coming alive in the postseason to meet in the state finals. If I had to pick, obviously, my friend Quinn coaching over there, I have to go with the Falcons. And even if my friend Quinn wasn't coaching over there, I still think I'd go with the Florence Falcons on this one. Back-to-back state chippers for them. Then we have St. Ignatius, the Mission Bulldogs, playing Fairview. And basically this game was a blowout until the last quarter. Mission was handling it, doing what they do. And Fairview Warriors showed an incredible amount of heart. I'd imagine that the coaches and the fans said, slow start, hard to come back from. But obviously Fairview proved that they belonged there, playing so well against Mission. But that being said, now Belt goes and absolutely belts Culbertson. And Culbertson was highly ranked, in my opinion. They were big, they were strong, they were physical. They had actually beat Fairview earlier in the season, and I think that I had them, just like Flint Creek, I had them really ranked high, but Belt just continues to prove to be a dominant powerhouse. They proved it all season. They're proving it now, and I wouldn't want to run into the train um, that's going on right now. I'd stay off the tracks, but I think that Mission is ready to take them on. I hope so. Big Sandy takes care of business versus Bridger. Big Sandy, in my opinion, again, 6-man favorites. Belt's favorite to win the state chipper, in my opinion, there as well. Because Froy Medicine Lake Co-op and Broadview went the distance and was close. Absolute nail biter. Barn burner. It was hot. And yeah, 35-34, Broadview takes it on that one. They're going to have to play the Pioneers, who look really good. When I tuned into that game in about the second quarter, it already felt like it was over. And the JVers seemed to be getting a little time at the end when Bridger scored. And so it was windy and nasty in all of these games. But Big Sandy looked super windy. Didn't matter. 6-man, again, just a wild thing to watch. But I don't know. Kind of looking at some of these box scores, the teams that have entered it. Jefferson versus Florence Carlton. Duquesne, he's been amazing for them both years, in my opinion. The Class B state MVP for 2 years in a row at this point. I don't know who else you give it to. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 244 yards. Just they spread it out and they throw the ball. And look at how many different receivers had a catch and over double digits in receiving. There was it even looks like Patrick Duquesne caught one here, but we had 48 yards by Caleb Brossman. William Wagner had 56 yards and 2 tutties. Ryan Winters had 22 yards. Isaac Bates, 45 yards and a touchdown, one catch, 45 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Abbott, 4 catches for 73 yards. Just really solid. And playing against a really solid team, this Oxart kid is only a sophomore, by the way, but he had 82 yards rushing, 174 yards throwing, but just threw a little bit too many interceptions, turned the ball over a little too much, and so that ended up getting him in the long run. Again, Culbertson Belt didn't have a whole lot of stats. Don't need a whole lot of stats. I wouldn't imagine the Culbertson Cowboys want to see the stats to this game. That's probably why they're not entering them. Yeah, and Big Fork's the only one who put the stats in here. Looks like we had a interception. I always look to see at these turnovers for the losing team, just to see. But it looks like they had a really great game rushing the ball. It just, when it got down to business, it was just, yeah, I don't know. It just, oh yeah. But I would say that going forward, we'll keep it short and sweet here. I'm really hoping to get, like I said, I love getting coaches on, and we're going to. I just think right now a lot of these coaches are focusing on when they get a loss, it's time to sit and stew on it and kind of come to the realization that your season's over and what the next steps are. A lot of these coaches probably coach multiple sports, but even if they don't, what are the next steps? How am I going to meet with my guys, closing meetings, and what am I going to do? Just to kind of, I don't know, feel it out. And if you're a coach that's winning, that's what you're focused on, right? And so when the state championship's over, I would really like to get a state championship coach on here. I'm going to ask my friend Tucker to see if he can get on. But just to show you guys an image here of who we got going to the state finals. Bozeman beats Gallatin. So they're going to be playing Capital in Helena. Helena fans get really rowdy. I think that's a benefit to the Capital boys playing. And I'd imagine that I'd still keep my favorite as Capital. But these state playoffs, man, they've proved to be kind of hard to navigate. Then we have Billings Central pounding Hamilton, and Fergus, the favorites, my picks early on to beat the state championship champion going forward. Having a rematch of the regular season, which was a great game. It should be a really good game to watch. I'd imagine that's the game of the week. And yeah, just to kind of see what that is. Now, I don't really know. It's hard for me to pick here. I'll put them here. Like I said, I want to stay with Florence because that was my pick, and that's who I've been consistent with all year. But picking against the Loyola Rams, I don't know if it's a jinx. I don't know if there's something in the air. Hocus Pocus 2 came out recently. I don't really know. But I wouldn't count Loyola out. If you're a Loyola Rams fan, freaking diehard Rams, I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game. Loyola definitely has their hands full, but the difference to me is Florence's level that they've raised it to is just a little better right now, and also just the fact that they've been there just a year ago. So recency bias, I guess. Belt moving on to play Mission. A lot of people had Mission, and I'm gonna have Belt. Belt is just tough. Beast of the East, not the best of the West anymore. And that's another good point to really bring up here. I think that we have really proven that the location, the area that you're located in the state, I know there's some pride going on in both of them, but I think what's really ended up happening is it showed that we have a grand spread of really good teams all over the state. We got, I guess you could call Bozeman East because they play in the East, even though it's not super East in Montana. But we have Bozeman in the from the East and Capital from the West. We got two Eastern teams. We got two Western teams. We got East and a West. We got an East, Big Sandy moving on after they beat Bridger. And we got another East after Broadview. Lavina beat Freud Medicine Lake. And so technically, if you want to get down to numbers here, crunch some numbers, the East might just be better. Beast of the East. We heard it a couple of times. West is best. Don't think so. I think it's. I think the East has proven itself, at least in if I calculate my numbers here. But if I'm gonna go with it, I'm gonna go with the state chipper. I got Big Sandy. I think Big Sandy's gonna be state championships. I foresee the Pioneers holding up the trophy at the end of this. I see Belt dancing in the middle of the field. And Florence, like I had picked all year. I just have I have to go with them. I really do. I think they're solid. I would love to see Quinn Chamberlain getting another one, proving that Florence knows what's going on and the Bitterroot's still strong. Fergus, OJ, and Lear, I hope you guys the best of luck going forward. Would love to talk to you guys sometime as well, but I wish you guys luck, and I can't wait to watch you guys play. This should be a good one. And then the Capital Bruins coming out on top. That's my favorites. Kind of, where we're at now. I think that what a year. I got scores from all year. I can't wait to see these state finals. I'll have one more episode. The next episode, kind of what the plan for me is going to be is get into what the scores were, what happened, what you guys may have missed if you missed anything. And then we're going to actually kind of split that episode up and start to foreshadow into basketball a little bit. Probably take a little bit of a break from videos, at least for a week after that point. And then start right into what we see for basketball. I think that'll be an exciting season 2, and not to foreshadow too much, but I see a lot of these good football teams also being good basketball teams. Athletes, I'm looking at you. 2 things that you can do to make yourself a better athlete and help your team be a better team. First, get in the dang weight room. How many more videos am I going to have to make sitting behind barbells and plates to make my point? I know it doesn't feel fun. I know there's things that you think are more important, but I'll tell you what. For most of us, including myself, looking back on sports, I don't remember what I did on the days that I missed weights. I don't remember the excuses that I had or the things that I did. But I remember every second of sports that I played in high school, right? And I think I speak for more people. If you truly want to be good, get in that weight room. First of all, reach out. If you need help, or if you think you need help, most likely you have a strength trainer that's close to you. If you don't, or if you think you need extra help, please reach out to me. My email is attached to all these YouTube videos. If you really wanted to know something about who I am, it's that I value and pride myself in education of strength and conditioning. Strength and conditioning, nutrition, and what's going to fuel the machine to make you a better athlete. So if you really need help, I'll help. I'll give you the knowledge that I know and help out. But you got to get in there. It isn't that stuff. That's the X's and O's aren't important. It's the mental fortitude to get yourself in there. Number 2, do multiple sports. It's tried and true. Why do you think Fergus is so good in both sports? Do you think it's just because they have naturally gifted football players and then naturally gifted basketball players? No, it's because these guys play together all year. They train together, they build team camaraderie together, they work together in multiple sports. Play multiple sports. Find something to do. Treat it as a training. Not everything that you do in high school, sports-wise, is going to be your favorite sport. It can't be. But you want to be a good athlete. You do these multiple sports because not only is it going to keep you battle-hardened, it's going to train aspects of what you need to get better, but it's also going to keep you locked into that game mode the entire year. Student athletes are what these good schools are built on. You want the school to be better. You want the leadership in your school to be better. It comes through this. And I don't mean to sound like jockey out of this. Sports can change the culture of an entire school, and it's true. You have a group of amazing athletes and amazing people, because it's hard to do both. Or it's hard to do one of those and not the other. Amazing athletes tend to be amazing people or are good students because you're held to that standard. They are also leaders, right? Maybe innocuous, but they are leaders, and they whether they want to be or not, people look up to them. People look up to you, athletes. Little kids, underclassmen, kids in band, kids in choir, kids who don't play any sports at all. You are going to turn the tide in the direction that your school wants, especially if you're successful. Okay? Take it serious. It means a lot. It can change the culture of a town. Okay? That's kind of all it. I got off my soapbox. I had to say it at some point this year. I had to get serious, some of the players that watch me. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me and staying in tuned and all that. I really appreciate it. I'm going to have some more dynamic recordings coming up, especially with the coaches' interviews and me fiddling with what I have going on the video quality and all of that. But there's nothing else to say. It's time to grind time, baby. It's the nitty gritty. Kid's going to be doing the gritty, whatever that is. Or at least they think they're doing. I don't like when they do it. They look silly, but that's just my 2 cents. But toodaloo. Appreciate you guys. Please follow us on Instagram if you want to catch the barn burners. Very easy ones to know this week. Obviously only 4 games, but we post a lot of stuff on there. If you like the video, give her a thumbs up. I feel so weird saying this. I'm not going to lie to you. But even if you don't give it a thumbs up if you don't want to. It's no big deal. No skin off my back. Okay? But I appreciate you guys tuning in to me and watching me. And promise to get you guys some coaches interviews moving forward. Thank you guys for sticking around. And toodaloo, have a great night, a great week, and feel powerful going into this weekend, boys. Let's go.